And Mr. Cliff Hoyme, a friend of mine for almost 25 years, folks, is on the line from the beautiful parts of Alberta. Cliff, how are you?
I couldn't be better, Shell. If I was any better, you wouldn't be able to catch me.
Yeah. You know, normally when I say if I was any better, I'd be dangerous. But, you know, Cliff, one of the things that has really become part of my experience, the years that I've been on radio and television, is introducing a product that your name actually is engraved into it, and it's called the Hoyme Damper. And because we are here on a podcast, quite often there was a number of people. It always brought a bit of a chuckle from my audiences throughout the prairies and also throughout British Columbia, that when I'd say Hoyme, they would look at me with a very, very, funny body language face image of, what did he say? And I said, folks, please, it's not a horny damper, it's a Hoyme damper. And the Hoyme damper is used on furnaces to control air into your home. And I want to leave that particular component of mine aside because I'm going to come now to Mr. Cliff Hoyme. And Cliff, please tell our listening audience, what is a Hoyme damper and what does it do?
The Hoyme damper is a certified, approved, code-approved damper that allows fresh air to come in to supply combustion air for a mid-efficient furnace. And as you know, as houses get tighter, they brought in the combustion air duct that terminated right beside your furnace, right, allowing all kinds of air to come in all the time. Right. And the Hoyme damper is the one that fits on there to control that cold air.
Well, you know, Cliff, that puts it really in a nutshell, because during my days on open line radio, I would get almost, especially this time of the year, I would get phone calls coming through from a listening audience saying, my wife is on my back, Shell, because she says the laundry room is cold and I can't seem to warm her up. And I'd always say, your furnace room must be right close or immediately adjacent to the laundry room. How did you know that? And I said, well, that's where the cold air is coming from, because it's your cold air, which is your combustion air for your furnace. And what you need is a Hoyme damper. And they would, there'd be a pause in the radio broadcast, and I'd say, I know what you're thinking. What is a Hoyme damper? Well, Cliff, you tell the folks what it does on that make-up combustion air coming in from outside. It could be a 4-inch, could be a 5-inch, could be a 6-inch, could even be an 8-inch pipe coming in and terminating right in front of the furnace, allowing cold air to come in as well as long as the furnace is in operation. So if you want to take it from there and explain to them what it does for that combustion air.
That's it shuts that combustion air off, and it's guaranteed to open for combustion when the fire is about to burn, and it then closes and shuts that cold air off when the fire goes off, and that way you keep a house that's nice and warm, and also you're saving a lot of energy as well. When you think of that open duct in every house letting cold air in continually, it's all the energy that is wasted, and you turn your thermostat up more to try to keep the house warm. But with the Hoyme damper, you just set your thermostat. It keeps you nice and warm. It only opens. And the nice thing about it, Shell, is that when that damper was introduced in 1984, they changed the code so that the combustion air terminated above the flame level. And that way, as the damper opened, the fresh air came in and fed your furnace. You almost had a high-efficient furnace right with the change of that location of the combustion air.
Exactly, and that's why it's always been such a serviceable informational piece during our radio program and now our podcasting across the country, because so many homeowners And in fact, a lot of the technicians are still not available throughout North America, and certainly throughout Canada and Western Canada, and for sure in the Greater Vancouver area, that they have never heard of the Hoyme damper. And we are now educating them through our podcast, through our TV program, and through interviews like this with the developer, creator, inventor of the Hoyme damper, because there's a lot of mid-efficiency furnaces out there that will not be changed out for high-efficiency one for some years to come, because it's not unusual to talk to homeowners saying, well, I just put in a new mid-efficiency furnace 2 years ago. And so therefore, they will have the combustion air duct coming into the home. And those particular furnaces have got a two-speed or a variable speed motor, which means that they're running 24/7, so they will have that cold, drafty air coming into their home. So that's where the Hoyme damper can give those homeowners the comfort back, and for very little money spent, because of the training of their service technicians. And as I've always said, Cliff, why don't you as a homeowner ask your technician about the Hoyme damper, and if they don't know, send them to Shell Busey, or the number that's right now, which we're going to make available for you. If you would give them your 800 number, Cliff, that would be great. Could you give them their 800 number to locate you?
Yes, the number is 1-800-661-7382. You can phone us from all over North America on that, because we sell to the Americans as well. The number is 1-800-661-7382.
Great.
And that will get you right to the factory, and they will tell you exactly where they can get their service. And if not, we can always find someone who would install it for them.
Well, that's great, Cliff, and that is such good information, because I've had people, when they've had the Hoyme damper installed, phone back and say, Shell, we can't believe, first of all, the information that you make available that we are not aware of being available, and we just had a Hoyme damper installed in our home, our basement suite where Mom and Dad live now. They are comfortable again. So I want to thank you very much for that, because that is something that's very important. Now, before I leave you and talk to Lowell Dahlman of Hoyme, folks, because we're going to talk about inline, you might say, the best things, air exchangers, when it comes to homes that are newly being built, or homes that have been built that you want to adapt an air exchanger to. But one question I still have for the man that is the inventor, Cliff Hoyme, about the Hoyme damper. And that is, Clifford, if I have a high-efficiency furnace in my home, I just replaced my old furnace with a new high-efficiency furnace. The contractor that has installed the new furnace said, you don't need the combustion air anymore. And being a homeowner, they've always related to the old saying that I used to have on the radio program, and that was, when in doubt, don't pout, let Shell Busey help you out. And so what I would do, I would get a phone call from that homeowner saying, and the furnace technician says, I don't need the combustion any longer. And I'd say, whoa, wait a minute. Yes, you do. And tell the listeners, Cliff, why they still need one.
Well, the combustion air was actually did two things. The supply, it supplied a little extra air for the house as well.
Right.
But when they put in the high-efficient furnace, it's not required for the high-efficient furnace anymore, but there should be some air coming in. Now, what contractors normally do is they take that combustion air and reroute it and put it into the return of the furnace, so that you'll still get air coming into the house for other situations where you have bathroom exhaust or kitchen fan exhaust and so forth. So they reroute that duct into the return of your high-efficient furnace. And that way it'll supply air, the extra air needed in your house.
Now if I could just put that in layman's terms for my listening audience, that, folks, is saying that the pipe that comes in from outside now that terminates just above the burner in your mid-efficiency furnace, if that particular pipe is no longer required because you have now a high-efficiency furnace which has its own plastic combustion air and also exhaust air, what is Cliff saying? What he is saying is that that particular duct now is joined up to the return air into your furnace. So therefore, your furnace is going to be the supply ducting through the duct system up in the home if the exhaust fan in the bathroom or the exhaust fan in the kitchen or even the dryer that is drying your clothes requires air to exhaust, because 1 cubic foot of air passing out of your house, there's got to be a cubic foot of air coming into your house, and that is what is called efficiency. So does that pretty well explain it there, Cliff?
That's very well. So the only thing is that now that fresh air can be, if you leave your furnace fan running 24/7, you're going to be bringing in that cold air into the return and into your house, which is not always necessary 100% of the time.
Right.
So there's where you put your Hoyme inline damper, and that is controlled by our interface adapters that will automatically open that damper whenever an exhaust fan comes on or whenever you want extra air into the house. And it also closes and allows the furnace fan to run and continually circulates the warm air in your house. And now in BC, they were using timers that automatically open that damper every so often to allow fresh air to come into your house, and then it would close for a certain period of time, depending on the timing that you put into the system.
Well, I sure like the idea of that interconnect lines. In fact, you were indicating to me before we started this interview that there's over 100 wiring diagrams for the electricians or the furnace technicians to relate to in order to deal with the Hoyme dampers, be it on the inline type into the your return air of your furnace from outside, and or possibly on the older furnaces on the end of the combustion air coming in and terminating right above, in front of the furnace, but just above your firebox. So that to me is really something that not only does it add comfort, but it adds savings as well. And it's something that can be installed on a high-efficiency furnace as well as a mid-efficiency furnace. And Cliff, I every time I talk to you about the Hoyme damper, I feel proud to even know you as a professional, a creator, a developer, an inventor, and you go about it the right way because you get all the code requirements that's done and all the approvals that are required for ULC and all the rest of it when it comes to installing something on a furnace. So I want to say thank you so much for your information today. And folks, it is Hoyme damper, and you can go to the website. It's www.Hoyme, that's HOYME.com. That's www.Hoyme.com. And I know that you've got Lowell standing right there beside you, or at least hopefully he's sitting now. But Lowell, your last name is Dahlman?
Correct.
And you are involved in the air exchanger. Now, the air exchanger, but listen to this, folks, a motorless air exchanger. Tell the folks how the Hoyme air exchanger works, the motorless air exchanger.
Well, how the motorless air exchanger, we like to refer to it as a furnace fan-generated air exchanger because it uses your furnace fan that you already have in your house to both draw the air in and exhaust some of your household air, so that when you're trying to get rid of stale air out of your house but bring fresh air in, it preheats the air coming in from outside as that stale air gets exhausted outside.
But and being an air exchanger, the efficiency factor must be attached to it. What is the efficiency factor of the Hoyme air exchanger?
Well, if for instance it's say minus 30 degrees outside, you could expect that the air coming back into your cold air return would come in at about plus 14.
Wow!
And that's just using regular 22 degree air from your house, exhausting.
Wow, that's now that's 30, 14. That's 44 degrees.
Right, that's 44
wow.
degrees. So that equates to about close to 85% efficiency.
Wow.
In terms of being able to do the heat recovery.
Now folks, what you're listening to, folks, is something that should be melted into the mind. And remember that if you have a mid-efficiency furnace that could be as low as 60 to 65, 70%, you can bring the efficiency of that furnace up to 85% by installing a Hoyme inline and it's air exchanger, and it's boy, that is something else. I just love that. I love saving money and gaining comfort.
Yeah, I mean it's as houses are getting more efficient, like even older houses, as they seal them up tighter and tighter, we don't get enough fresh air in our homes anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So this allows us to get all the fresh air that we need, and is comfortable for us in living. And then exhausting all the stale air that you'd want to get rid of, like bathroom air or kitchen air, or just general stale air in the house. Like something, if you got new carpets, like you'll have other kind of things in your house that you just want to clean the air in your house out.
Now, Lowell, here's a question for you, and keeping in mind that we are doing a podcast, so we control what is put on the air within our own means. And I am very much committed to the Power Smart program, which has went worldwide back a few years ago. In fact, I was very happy to be the launch pad for Power Smart, and also very much involved in the Federal Energy Mines and Resources, where they produce booklets, and one of the major ones that I've given thousands and thousands away at shows called Keeping the Heat In. And that particular item, the air exchanger, why would they not have a major promotion on that, indicating to the homeowner that they can add that comfort level to a older home as well as a newer home with a mid-efficiency furnace installed in it? Is there something in sizing? I mean, is this particular unit bulky? Can it be installed after installation of the furnace system? What is the answer to that question? The volume of the aftermarket installation.
Yeah. This can be installed in new houses or in old houses. It doesn't make any difference from that concern.
Mm-hmm.
We design the design of the air exchanger was such so that it could fit between the joists in your house.
Uh-huh.
So that dust that comes from outside that you're now putting into your cold air return,
yeah,
it can go along that same duct line,
right?
So that you can. So that's where your fresh air coming into your furnace. It comes into the cold air return,
right?
And the stale air leaves on the pressure side. So, and you can line in all your bathrooms, and you can line in your kitchen fan. You can even line in central vac on ours that you wouldn't be able to do on a conventional HRV.
Yeah, because all those things exhaust air.
Yes, absolutely. And you can capture all the heat from those.
Yeah. Well, you take, for an example, the air that's being used up in, let's say the dryer. Now, I know a dryer, there was an item introduced back a few years ago. I don't even want to mention the name on it because I was very much part of why that become almost a major control concern within the home, because they were taking the air from a dryer and putting it right back into the house while the moisture level was going up so high in homes back in the prairies when it was minus 30 degrees that, my goodness sakes, doors were freezing up.
Yeah. Dryer air is a separate kind of thing. There's so much lint
Yeah.
That needs to still exhaust separately on its own. But any of those other things, like your bathroom or your kitchen fan or
Vacuum.
your central vac, those can all be put through this.
Excellent. Boy, I'll tell you that. And is that all covered on your website?
That's all that's on our website. All the installation instructions and everything else, they can kind of see that. Or if they have any questions, they can call us at the factory, and we can sure help them through that. So.
And that number, folks, please write down the phone number that Clifford gave you. It is, Cliff, do you want to give it again?
Yes, the number is 1-800-661-7382.
There you have it. And, you know, fellas, that this has been a wonderful interview, and I know by the time we get that onto our website, we get it out in the form of our podcast, which will go out this Friday, and I hope that the interest level, even this time of the year, you know, as human beings, we tend to leave a lot of furnace heating information and know-how and requirements to the last minute. You wake up one morning when they say it is frosty this morning, it's -3 degrees here on the mainland. That's when they start thinking about snow tires and turning their furnace on. So,
yes.
Folks, don't wait for spring. Do it now. Anything else that you'd like to add there, Clifford or Lowell?
Yes, I would, Sal. Lowell, maybe you could mention we've had this product on the market for about 10 years, but we've never had it officially tested. And just recently, we've had this tested by the National Research Council. This is our heat recovery ventilator I'm talking about.
Right.
And Lowell, if you'll fill them in on the efficiency that we found through the National Research Council. Lowell?
So the heat recovery ventilator tested side by side against a nice dual core heat recovery ventilator, and ours tested out 10% better in the summertime and 20% better in the wintertime than a conventional HRV.
Wow.
In terms of, yeah.
And you're motorless.
Oh, yeah. Ours uses the furnace fan.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a furnace in this country, you'll be in trouble. But so it's going to be working. The other ones, up to 7% of the electrical bill was the heat recovery ventilator in the other unit. So that was the other house that was tested side by side with ours.
Well, you know, I mean, why would people not jump on this and make it part of their comfort heating system on a forced air system, be it mid-efficiency or a high-efficiency furnace? Can you give me a percentage, not dollar figures, because we don't really want to incorporate something that will be available for many months and possibly even years ahead of us. But what are we looking at difference between a branded motor type of heat recovery ventilation system compared to yours, percentage-wise? How much more or less would your unit be, percentage-wise?
The price is comparable to conventional heat recovery ventilators, but the efficiency and so forth is much better.
Plus 10 in the summertime and up to 20% in the wintertime.
That's correct, and that was tested with the best conventional heat recovery ventilator on the market by National Research Council.
Oh.
Side by side, two side situations, and they found that the results of ours were that much better. We knew that it was a good unit, but we never had it tested, and of course it's a matter of dollars and cents to have something tested.
Oh yeah.
And so as a result, we felt that this is the time to have it tested.
Well, you know, Clifford, you got to be given so much credit for doing that and seeing that it got done. Now, one last question about the heat recovery ventilation ventilator.
Yes.
There are no filters in it. Is that correct?
That's correct. You don't have to have any other filters to change because your furnace fan already has a filter.
Exactly.
So
That's why I wanted to bring that point up. You don't have another filter to change. You don't have another box to pull out and exchange. All these different things. The maintenance is way down compared to a conventional heat recovery system.
Yeah, our furnace fan generated air exchanger, when the hot and cold air meet, it's a counterflow design, which is the most efficient means of air-to-air heat exchange, as opposed to a cross-flow.
Right.
So in a conventional HRV, the cross-flow design means that cold air and hot air are meeting each other like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's -6 or colder, then conventional HRV goes into defrost mode, which means the dampers close to prevent the air that you're really wanting to get out, like bathroom air or kitchen air, and it comes right back into your house because it's been 12 minutes making this ice cube and then 6 minutes trying to defrost it.
Right.
And then 12 minutes on again. So a third of the time can be spent defrosting itself if it's only -6 or colder.
And that costs money.
That does cost money, and your fans are blowing on those things 24/7, and so that's all extra electrical costs. And ours works 24/7. So if your furnace fan is working, this air exchanger is working, and it self balances, and you don't have to take out a core to clean twice a year. Like you say, no extra filters. So all those are advantages that I think are really really
important. Really important. Yeah. Well, listen, guys. I'm really thrilled to have your time and effort. I'm going to ask if I put on a seminar, an educational seminar, where we invite people out, including that of interested service technicians. Would you be prepared to come from Alberta to British Columbia into Vancouver, South Surrey, and make the presentation with me?
We'd be very pleased, Shal. We don't pass out we don't pass up invitations of this type, and we'd be very, very pleased.
Well, okay. Well, that's going to happen because I'm going to make sure that this gets out in the form of the portion of this podcast, and having people contact us and to see exactly over a period of time, and we'll set up a time that's going to be convenient for everybody. So I want to say again, thank you, Clifford. Thank you, Lowell, of the Hoyme Manufacturing Company in Alberta, folks. And if you want to read more, see more, go to www.hoyme.com. And Hoyme is spelled Hoyme, 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 and get all the information. And Clifford Hoyme and Lowell Dahlman, thank you.
And thank you too, Shal. You're appreciate it.
And say hi to all the staff members, and we'll be one day in to see them again.
We shall do that.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.